Driving in the snow, it's not something that a lot of people in Western Washington are used to doing. Some of us have lived elsewhere, and we are. Some aren't. Sergeant Darren Wright joining us with the Washington State Patrol right now. Sergeant, what would you say is the biggest mistake people make when they're not used to driving in the snow or on the ice?
Oh, clearly, good morning. Clearly, the biggest mistake people make in these conditions is driving just too fast.
And what does that lead to?
It leads to lack of control, not being able to stop in time, and just being able to, the forces, physics works. And if you don't have any traction on the ground, you're not going to be able to turn when you want to, and you're not going to be able to stop when you need to.
What's your biggest piece of advice for drivers out there today?
Biggest piece of advice I have for people is, slow down. And when you think you're driving slow enough for these conditions, slow down a little bit more.
And now keeping a lot of space between you and the person in front of you is important, not just because you don't know if you're going to be able to stop, but they might not be able to get started very easily from a stop. Do you see a lot of issues at intersections?
Yes. I was actually driving on I-5 yesterday, and there was a car that couldn't make it up the hill by the Tacoma Dome. And so people trying to get started from that issue there was a problem. And if you don't have that distance, you can't stop, and you can't, if somebody starts sliding backwards, all kinds of things. So just keep that distance, drive real slow, and just be careful.
We know we saw in Nevada overnight a 20-car pileup, and that's something that the state DOT has to try to deal with and try to avoid. Other than keeping your distance and driving slowly, what can you do, especially on highways, to make sure that if I'm driving there, that sort of an issue doesn't happen, that I'm not part of it?
One of the big things on those conditions, usually it turns into a zero visibility issue. And if you're got a clear path in front of you, don't stop in those conditions. Keep creeping forward so that you don't stop and get rear-ended, and that's what starts that chain reaction a lot of times. But, good following distance, and just be safe. Keep that distance around you so that everybody can get going safely. And
we do occasionally see the state trucks getting in trouble, people bumping or crashing into them. How would you sort of personalize that for those of us who are driving around? We're trying to get where we're going. We're frustrated, but we see one of your trucks on the side of the road. What would you tell drivers?
Well, we're all out there trying to make sure that it makes safe the roads for you. We partner with the Department of Transportation. The plows are out there doing their job, and they do a great job for us, trying to keep our roads open and safe and travelable. And then our troopers are working collisions and have to be on the side of the road. And we had a DOT incident response truck struck in Olympia yesterday during these conditions, and we had a trooper's car struck also yesterday. So it's dangerous to be out there, but they're out there for you. So give them the space they need to do their job, please.
Sergeant Darren Wright of the Washington State Patrol, thanks for joining us here on this Monday morning. Hope you had a great holidays, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you.